Alright, onto the cricket corner, where I'm going to chat all cricket that's been going on. And headline for this week has been the second test coming up between England and New Zealand, starting very soon. And wow, there have been a lot of headlines outside of the cricket for this test series, because we have had so many big news things that have dropped, including Kane Williamson's retirement, and that means he's going to retire before the end of the series. So that means no Kane Williamson for the last two tests. So what do they do there? They've got to change up how they line up the side. And first of all, let's acknowledge Kane Williamson's career, because what a player. One of the best to ever play for the Black Caps. One of the best batsmen, with a 54 run average in Test cricket and 33 hundreds, the New Zealand record for most hundreds in Test matches. This guy has just been that anchor for New Zealand cricket for the past 10 or 15 years. And he's struggled over the past few years with a bit of, dropped out of captaincy, moved in and out of the test team, played a lot of around the world cricket, but this guy has been the man for the Black Caps to save games and be just the guy to look forward to when you're struggling for the Black Caps. And what a career. This guy has produced some incredible numbers and been at the top of the world for quite a while. So it's disappointing to see him retire, but what a career. How are the Black Caps going to adjust to this? Will be interesting. So let's have a look at some of their squad and how they will look to line up. So I'm guessing opening, they will line up with Tom Latham and Devon Conway opening. And then at 3 will be the question. Who's going to move into that role? Now, so let's just break down where they have got. So possibles for that number 3 role are Henry Nicholls and Will Young, really. Unless Tom Latham or Devon Conway want to drop to 3 and Will Young opens. But I think Henry Nicholls will take it, because he's had a bit of form recently, and I think he can move into that area. I think Henry Nicholls, he's shown a bit of grit to stay in this Black Caps squad, and I think he deserves the shot there. Number 4 will have Daryl Mitchell. Number 5, I think it will be Glenn Phillips. He's been quite an anchor during that first test match. Wow, we really dropped in batting, and there's going to have to be change this next test match if we want to do well. 6 was Blundell, and then Jamison. Rachin Ravindra. Oh, was he opening? Might have to check that. Hold a second, because we need to check how they looked. So Tom Latham, Devon Conway, Kevin Wilson, Will O'Rourke. Oh, that was because of the thing. Yeah, so I think Rachin Ravindra might come into that 3 now that I think about it. Instead of Henry Nicholls, or Henry Nicholls might be played somewhere around there. Mitch Santner surely comes into the side. I don't know how his fitness is at the moment, but Cole Jamieson should be there. Nathan Smith will be there. So that we've got some depth in the batting, even though it didn't show that. We were quite poor. O'Rourke and Tickner. No, do you think Tickner will start? Is Tickner going to play? I don't know. Did he play this last match? No, he didn't. No, I don't think Tickner will play. I personally not a hugely Tickner fan, but there will be some out there, and I think we've got our sort of paces at the moment. And if injury were to hit, we've got Matt, what a player. But if injuries were to hit, Tickner would slide into that paces lineup. But the questions do come within New Zealand's batting, because they did not play well that first Test match. We've got to be honest. And the pitch definitely did not help us, but there were some poor decisions. Daryl Mitchell did not appeal to me during that match. They just weren't convincing to me, and they need to sort that out coming to this Test match. What could help them out is that they won't have their captain for England. Ben Stokes and Atkinson are out. And that is because of the club incident where they came in after the curfew and a bit of bad behaviour or some incident occurred at the club, so they are dropped. The captain for England is dropped. This is big because what is going on? What is going on for England's cricket? Because how do they... Ben Stokes' terrible decision to, first of all, go out to a club. Being captain, you're meant to lead and be the man setting the rules for coming back before curfew. But he's gone out with Atkinson and he's gotten a mess, and this is poor decision making from England, and there's got to be change there. What are England fans thinking right now? Because they've backed Stokes and Brendan McCullum, and I think you can back Brendan McCullum, but I don't know. Ben Stokes, what is going on there, mate? Joe Root will come into skipper, but they're looking a bit thinner now with that position. Ben Duckett and I wonder if Emilio Gay will open. It'll be interesting to see how they work that out. And then number 3, Bethel possibly, and then Joe Root, and then Harry Brook. So that's a stat. Harry Brook, the man, the myth, the legend. Jamie Smith keeping, most likely. And then for the Pacers, I saw they were bowling well. Josh Tongue, he played well. Jofra Archer will likely come into this game. Ollie Robinson. Now, so I've got a still good lineup, but maybe a bit of lack of depth. Shea Bashir will possibly come in to bowl some spin. But it's an interesting situation for England, and possibly could be selling them what looked like a really good start, because now they are under pressure, and the inside of their team is now going to be questioned. Their squad again, even after the huge questions after the Ashes, they're going to be questioned just because of this incident, and they've got right to do so, because Ben Stokes has made a terrible decision there. I wonder how this next test is going to work out with nippy conditions last test match and really tough batting pitches and conditions. So hopefully I will kind of want it to be a bit more exciting, a bit more batting involved. But it's always good to see bowlers get a good match under the belt. I think for the next test though, New Zealand can hit back and will beat England. That's my forecast. Okay, let's move to the Women's Cricket World Cup. So there have been some massive matches. It's just kicked off really recently. And England's women's side beat Sri Lanka by 87 runs. They gave them an absolute thrashing. Danny White-Hodge was so important for this. With 105 not out. What an innings. England look really good coming into this World Cup, and with that win, I think they'll be tough to beat. Australia will be tough to beat as well, beating South Africa by 65 runs. Wareham got 32 and 13 for 3, so that's an honourable mention there. But I think they're looking good as well, Australia, as they always are. They are a force when it comes to women's cricket and men's cricket as well. But women's, they dominate superbly. But Aussie will be a tough beat as well. So the White Ferns will be disappointed because one of the games they would have hoped to get a win relatively easily was against the West Indies. Well, not easily, but one they'd rather win than England and Australia. And West Indies won by 7 wickets through Campbell with a 90 not out. But New Zealand looked good to start off with in batting. Izzy Gay started off well with a clinic, 39, but then 49 after 5.4 overs, they were looking so good. And then 3 quick wickets put them on the back foot, and consistent wickets get them to score 162 for 6, which is a decent score. But poor fielding let them down. They were just not up to standard at all, fielding. And that's really disappointing to see when it's fielding. It's one of those things they can control really easily. And there are just so many dropped catches. The West Indies were allowed to get away. And it's not as though West Indies didn't give them any opportunities. They didn't thrash them. 3 balls. They only got it done with 3 balls to spare. And they gave so many catches out. And New Zealand just did not take any. It was horrific. The next match for the White Ferns is on the 17th on Wednesday, and they really have to pick it up when they play Sri Lanka then. They need to fix their fielding, and they need to win. This is a must win for them. If they got beaten by England by massive amount of runs, they need to win and fix their fielding and bring their best game, because otherwise they will struggle to make finals in this tournament.